Hello, Chris Peterson here, IMLS Director of Training. Big news for IMLS members. Paragon Connect just leveled up with some seriously powerful new features that will supercharge the way you manage and market listings. Get ready to dive into the Listing Insight Report for crystal clear performance data at your fingertips. Stay ahead of the game with the brand new Sellside Tracker widget right on your Paragon Connect dashboard. It keeps you laser focused on buyer interest and activity like never before. Plus, harness the magic of AI public remarks generation to craft compelling descriptions in seconds, and wow everyone with stunning aerial flyover views on your listings that bring properties to life. These updates aren't just helpful, they're game changers. Log in and start exploring today.
Hi, this is Chris with Intermountain MLS, and we're going to look at some new updates with Paragon Connect, starting with some great things if you are a listing agent. So in Paragon Connect, if you go to the menu up on the left and come down here to listings, you can view the listings dashboard where you can see your latest listing edits, expiring listings, upcoming tours and open houses that you have. And you can also view your partial listings, which would be the unpublished listings, or you can click the Published tab to see the published listings. And then you have a filter here over on the left that you can use to see information about your listings. When you're on the inventory section of the listings in Paragon Connect, here you've got your current listings that are active, and you can click on Insights, and you can get insights on that property, which is very similar to the sell side of the Collab Center. And so here we've got the property, the information summary there at the top, the listing content, the number of photos and documents, the location and floor plan information. There's the seller activity with the days on market, open houses. And then here we've got listing views, both agent and consumer views. The consumer views, of course, coming from the Collaboration Center. And here we've got the last week. I can change this to the last 90 days. And we can see the graph for the last 90 days on that property. And then we've got the total number of saved searches, both agent and consumer searches, the Collab Center favorite, possible, rejected, and undecided information. And you can click on those. For example, I click on the favorites, and that brings up the reverse prospecting report for those favorites that are out there. Let's go back here to the Insight Report. And then we've got the agent and office information, the agent comments, buyer comments, email shares, agent recommended, which is listing carts for your consumers on the Collab Center. And then there's the property history, which of course will just give us the property history information. So I can scroll down and look at that and just the property history changes. But then below that, we have competition, which again, this is on the sell side of the Collab Center as well. But here you can see the subject property. There's the little, I'll zoom in here a little bit, the little red marker where the subject property is. And then we have competitive properties nearby, and I can click on the arrow here and I can see the sold prices of those competitive listings that are nearby. And on the sell side of the Collab Center, your seller can also see that same information. And so that's the Listing Insight Report that can be really useful. And up at the top, you've got edit listing, edit the photos, edit the documents, add an open house, add floor plans. And then when you click on the more, you have the shortcut options, just like in listing maintenance in Paragon Connect, where you can go in and do any of those things on your listing that you need to do. And when you're on the Listing Insight Report and you click on the actual image of the property, that loads the detail view in Paragon Connect. So you can see all the property information, just like if you were to put in the MLS number and bring it up yourself. And then I can click on the back button and I'm back on that inventory report where I'm seeing that property information. So that is the Listing Insights Report. And that's a relatively new addition to Paragon Connect. Another thing to talk about that is new in Paragon Connect is the flyover view, the aerial flyover. So I'll bring up a listing here. So I'm just going to do a search here really quick in Paragon Connect. Go here to residential. And I'll enter my criteria. Let's do active. and single family. And let's say we want to look in Boise, and maybe my price range is between $575 and $700. And I want to come down here to age. And let's say I want to get some existing homes. So I've got 18 that match my search. I can see that count right up here. So I'm going to click on search to bring up those properties. So this brings up just the regular property result view, the thumbnail view in Paragon Connect. And let's click on this property on Victory Road. So when you're viewing the property in Paragon Connect, you've got these tabs at the bottom right below the picture: photos, map, floor plans, and documents. Of course, the floor plans and documents will be there if the agent has uploaded those. But let's say I go to the map view. So here's the map view showing me the property where it is. And up on the top right, you've got this icon for aerial flyover. So when I click on that, and that's a Google Map integration with Paragon. So here's the aerial flyover. And then it automatically starts rotating, showing where that property is and the parcel lines. There's the little pause button down here on the bottom right if I want to pause that. And so I can see where that property is, and that automatically is added to that listing. And of course, if you haven't seen it in Paragon Connect, when you're viewing the photos, you can click on the expand photo, and then you can scroll through those full page images right there in Paragon Connect. So that is the aerial flyover in Paragon Connect. Another thing to talk about with Paragon Connect, which we've had for a little while, but you may or may not have seen, is the ability to have AI-generated public remarks. So I'm going to go here to my partial listings that I've created, my unpublished listings. And we'll find one here. Here's one that's residential. Let's click on it. And we're going to edit this listing. Now, to be able to do the automated generated remarks, there has to be some information entered about the listing. So I'm going to enter some information in here. We'll do our status. We'll do our type. Put our city and our county. And put our address. And the street is Pine Flats. And then come down here a little farther. Put our age in there. And we'll get built. And our beds and baths. So now I've got my beds and baths in there. And so now I need to add some photos. So I'm going to come here to the photos, and I'm going to add some photos in there. And so I've got some photos saved on here I can use. And we'll select a few of these. Select a front photo, a back photo, and some other photos here. And then I'm going to add those. Just going to add my photos into my listing. And when you add photos into Paragon, it automatically creates the labels and the descriptions. Of course, if I want to edit those, I can do that. But now I've got those there for any kind of accessibility needs or helping describe my listing. And so I'm going to save those. and maybe I want to reorder the pictures. Maybe I want to have photo J to be the primary photo, so I just drag that over there and save it. So now I've got my photos saved. And now that I've got my photos saved, I'm going to partially save this listing. And now that I've partially saved it, I can come down here to the remarks section. And here are the remarks. And for the public remarks, you can choose the type of remarks that you want. So let's say I want to do playful. And now when I hit auto generate, it's going to auto generate the public remarks in a playful tone. And of course, once it's generated, I can edit those. Because it may have things in there that I don't like the way that it is. But like, for example, this one starts away with tucked away at, and then gives the address. I also could come here and do just standard. And then I would do remarks in more of a standard tone instead of trying to make it playful or something. So you can choose whatever tone you want. And that way you're not having to come up with those remarks right on the spot. And just for another example, we'll pick professional. And so now you can see what the professional would be. But this is available only in Paragon Connect. So if you're someone who has a hard time coming up with the remarks or spends time doing that, this is a great way to get a start by having it automated and created for you. And so it takes information that you've entered, and then it creates those remarks for you. And so that's the auto-generated public remarks. So those are some great updates in Paragon Connect that you can do. Last thing to look at is that all of the things we've just talked about are available in Paragon Connect, both on your computer and on your phone. So if I go here to listings and I go to the published listings dashboard again, I can go here to insights. And now I have that insight report that we saw earlier, but now I have it available on my phone. And I can see all that same information here. Go down here to the competition. And I can see those competitive properties and view their information just like I was able to do in Paragon on my computer. So now I'm looking at that information on my phone. And so let's go to this property on Campton and Boise. And when I go to the map, up at the top right is that aerial flyover again. So now I'm getting the aerial flyover on my phone, in addition to be able to getting it on my computer, and I can see that. So you're able to get that information on your phone. Now that I'm on my phone, one other thing I want to talk about is one other widget you can add to the dashboard on Paragon Connect. So here I am on the dashboard, and up on the top right, I can click on the little icon there to customize my dashboard. And let's say I want to add a widget for one of my current listings. And so one of the widgets is here is the Sellside tracker. So I'm going to select the Sellside tracker and save that widget. So now on my dashboard, there's the Sellside tracker. I'm going to assign a listing, and we're going to assign that listing we looked at earlier. And so now I have information here about that Sellside tracker. I can tap on the menu and go directly to the Insights report, edit my listing, assign a contact if I want to do that, all from that Sellside tracker. And you can have up to 3 Sellside tracker widgets available on the homepage of Paragon Connect on the dashboard. And here I am looking at that widget on my Paragon Connect dashboard on my computer. There's the Sellside tracker, and I can click on expand. Gives me other information here. I can see the comments, the shares via email, and things that have changed recently. And again, I can come right here, go to that View Insights report, and that brings up that Listing Insights report like we saw earlier. So there's some great things in Paragon Connect that you can access.
I hope this video has helped to familiarize you with the updated game-changing features in Paragon Connect. Don't hesitate to contact Intermountain MLS support with any questions you may have.